Hello, dear viewers of our channel. We've received a question asking whether honey is allowed for people with diabetes or prediabetes. Today we'll be looking into this question. It's actually one of the most frequently asked questions. Look, many people say that because honey is natural, it doesn't raise blood sugar. But for the body, it doesn't matter whether it's natural or produced industrially. In the end, when digested, all the final products formed are glucose, fructose, amino acids, fatty acids. The body absorbs them accordingly, and based on that, from these products, it can either use them as energy or produce new substances. If there is no difference in composition between artificial and natural honey, the body treats them the same, whether it's from flowers, whether it's from other products, cotton, mountains, or deserts, wherever the honey comes from, it's still honey. It will still cause an increase in blood sugar. Look, in 100 grams of honey, there are 38 grams of fructose, 35 grams of glucose, and there are 2 grams of sucrose and 17 grams. The remainder, the rest, is simply water. So to be clear, everything I have just said and everything I have discussed or talked about up to this point is all based on reliable, trustworthy, and well-established sources. This is information that comes from the year 2023, which is the most recent data available at the time of this recording. Now, if we take a closer look at the glycemic index, which is a measure of how quickly foods raise blood sugar levels, we find that the glycemic index of regular refined white sugar is 65. The honey that is obtained specifically from acacia flowers has a glycemic index ranging from 55 to 60. Buckwheat, which many of you think is good for diabetics, the honey made from the flowers of buckwheat has a glycemic index of 70, and honey from wildflowers or forest flowers also falls into this category. In general, if we look at honey from all types of flowers, the glycemic index can go up to 80. It can be that high. Since the glycemic index is higher than that of sugar, when you consume honey, you will suffer at least as much harm as if you had consumed sugar. It can even be worse. The consequences can be more severe than consuming sugar itself, leading to more serious complications in diabetes and in your blood sugar level. It causes even more harm than consuming regular sugar in terms of raising blood sugar level. Let's look at what happens when you consume honey. Within 15 minutes, your blood sugar rises. Between 15 minutes and half an hour, the cells of the pancreas respond to the increase in blood sugar. When it detects the rise in blood sugar, it produces insulin. It produces a lot of insulin. In the blood. The glucose and fructose are processed by the liver, and after checking and seeing that the blood sugar has increased, and after the glucose rises, it converts part of it into glycogen. That is, the liver tries to lower the blood sugar level. It tries to do this. Now, the liver can convert about 5 grams of fructose per day. That's the rate. Now, when you consume a lot of honey, because if you take just 1 spoonful of honey, at least 10 grams of fructose enters your body. At least 10 grams of fructose enters your body. The excess is converted by the liver into fat, and the excess is converted into liver fat. The liver also becomes fatty. Fat also increases in the abdomen. Internal fat, visceral fats increase as well. And prolonged and long-term consumption of honey, regularly consuming honey, increases glycated hemoglobin. And due to the presence of honey, it leads to a constant and steady rise in blood sugar levels over time, resulting in persistently elevated blood sugar. Let's move on to the studies. Our first study was conducted in 2018. A total of 72 patients participated in the study, and with just 1 or 2 teaspoons of natural honey, which was consumed regularly and consistently by the participants over the entire course of 8 weeks. The effects were carefully observed and recorded. The patients who consumed honey experienced an increase in their glycated hemoglobin levels by about half a point. The second study, which was conducted in the year 2009, also examined this effect. Consuming honey after meals led to a noticeable spike in blood sugar level. And meta-analysis, as you know, in a meta-analysis, a large number of articles are reviewed and a final conclusion is drawn. In our 2022 meta-analysis, 1,100 patients were studied. Consuming honey raises it, and it also increases glycated hemoglobin. This was the conclusion reached. There are many widespread false reports and myths about honey. The first is that Honey, just like insulin, helps to lower blood sugar levels. However, there is no insulin present in honey. Honey does not stimulate the production of insulin in the body. It does not have a direct effect on insulin. Because honey raises blood sugar, it may also lead to an increase in insulin as well. Honey raises blood sugar just like regular sugar and can even raise it more. The second myth is that honey contains fructose and that fructose does not raise blood sugar. This is false information. Honey does raise blood sugar. Fructose also raises blood sugar. This is because fructose is converted into glucose, and in addition to being converted, the excess amount is turned into fat. The part that is converted into fat increases insulin as well, causes an increase in insulin resistance, and the insulin your body produces becomes insufficient to lower your blood sugar. There's another common myth that honey can be consumed as a substitute for regular sweets. People say it's okay to eat honey instead of regular sweets, but only patients who have achieved complete clinical remission, that is for 5 years, patients whose blood sugar hasn't increased for 5 years, or healthy people can consume a small amount of honey instead of regular sweets, instead of cakes or pastries. However, people with diabetes cannot consume it. With that, I think we've now thoroughly wrapped up today's topic about honey for you. This summary is based on at least 5 articles from reliable sources and 1 meta-analysis. It has been established that honey is not allowed for people with diabetes, as it raises blood sugar and, compared to regular sugar, has an even stronger effect and is even more harmful than regular sugar. I believe I have already explained this thoroughly. If anyone has any questions, you can always leave them for me to address. Everything you have heard is, in fact, a lie. Whether your doctor said it, or a healer, or a professor, or an academic, no matter who said it, regardless of their credentials, people with diabetes absolutely cannot have honey.